consistent piece of an otherwise inconsistent roster, now back with BLG where he made his run to the World's Finals just 2 years ago. Both these junglers certainly have the chance to prove that they belong at the top echelon of Tier 1 competition throughout the entire world, and we'll see if they are able to do so here. BLG opting to actually pick second in their first selection protocol here, with Waybo opting to blue side here in this second game.
Let's see here. It actually, no, it does appear that, yeah, so BLG did have the pick priority, and they actually apparently chose to pick first.
Okay.
Which honestly, that is pretty interesting. I would imagine.
It's confusing.
Wow, wow. Okay, so they've gone for the Sylas ban into the Malphite first pick. That's pretty clever. I mean, the only problem with Malphite, the literal only problem, is Sylas. So if he's off the table, it's pretty surprising that Waybo would actually allow Malphite to be open, because you're really telegraphing what you're doing there. If you're going for a third ban Sylas, Waybo fully has the opportunity to ban Malphite. Instead, they chose to ban Rumble, so that's very interesting. They're leaving the Malphite open. They must have some sort of a plan, some sort of an answer into this. It's about a 90+% chance this is a Malphite jungle. We don't get to touch on Xun too much, but I understand that it's been pretty rocky for him on BLG. You know, there's Wei coming in, even Beishuan being their starting jungler. It's like Xun not being around. It's like, is Xun supposed to be that guy? Like, we want to see if Xun belongs on this roster, because he's constantly sort of not being that focal point jungler of BLG for the longest time, and this is his season to prove that he should be that staple they need.
It's a chance for redemption for Xun. Remember, he left BLG because basically they wanted to give the starting spot to Wei, and he didn't want to split time, so he's like, all right, I'm out of here. Goes join Jiejie.
He does. Really well played by Bin there. But yeah, I mean, the Malphite jungle is just so overpowered, Grapes. I mean, the reason why this champion was kind of balanced in the first place was you kind of know where he is on the map when he's a top laner. You can kind of keep track of him. When he's a jungler, he could just be sitting in the bush, man. He can just be anywhere, and you could just be getting Malphite ulted out of nowhere. And looks like Bin might be going for the three-peat here.
This is a bold decision. It was a little bit easier to go for it when he was not Mega, but now with an extra mem here in Xiaohu, gonna make that decision a little bit easier, as they will be able to take down Bin for the third kill of the game on Waybo's side. Oh, but Zika died. Oh, it's a 1-for-1.
Zika died. Well, I guess Zika is receiving the Bin treatment a little bit. You know, that's just how it is as a weak side player. You are literally just, you have two options. Either you just don't play the game, you get no gold XP, you just sit under your second tower because your first one's not even safe, and you just hardly exist, or you gather as much resources as you can and realize you're probably going to die in the process. So as much as Bin has three deaths this game, I mean, has he really done anything wrong, or is that just the overall macro of this game? We'll see how they took their strong side play onto Zika here. I mean, yeah, you can't survive this. You just get Malphite ulted.
Oh boy.
You just get one shot. And you know, BLG has 2 Drakes and the gold lead here, so just because Bin looks like he's trolling, I really don't think he is. He's playing pretty well. He dodged the Blitzcrank hook. He's done everything he possibly can. And sometimes you have to be the one who gets dealt the short straw and win anyway.
Feed and Viper, that's his third kill of the game himself. As now On could be in some trouble using the death sentence, and he uses the Raptors to get away from the might of Waybo. Elk flashes forward, but will not be able to finish the kill off. Such mastery of this champion here for On to understand that he can use that death sentence as an escape, and ends up getting commuted.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like he was just super dead. Wow, okay, that's really well played. You do want to be trading flashes there as the Blitzcrank. Sucks for Viper, but it is what it is. His flash is probably a bit of a longer cooldown as well. So, yeah, that's not bad from Erha there. But yeah, I mean, On, so well played, man. I mean, like I said, I thought he was dead, but apparently not, man. Apparently as the Thresh, you can death sentence out there. You can buy yourself enough space to survive. Really well played. And yeah, BLG has the total upper hand in this second game. They really want to take us to 3. It's looking like the momentum is fully on their side.
1,500 gold lead, and more than that is on Viper right now, actually. If you take Viper and Elk out of the equation, BLG actually are down in gold, but that's just how powerful this Aphelios. Who else but Viper to go on a rampage?
Yeah, they are saying, welcome back to the LPL, buddy. Here's your silver platter. Feel free to have whatever it is. Eat everything you want on this buffet. It's on us. And Viper is getting as fed as he possibly wants this game. I love it. As the Malphite, why not just target the Blitzcrank? You know he just expended his flash. You may as well just give another free kill over to Viper, man. Just get him that much stronger. And as I highlighted in the previous series, Aphelios, one of the most prominent AD carries, if not the most prominent, alongside perhaps Yunara and Varus on this patch. But this being the champion that's a bit more of a Viper champ, I would say, this is exactly what you want. One of the best players in
countless moments of Viper on the Aphelios specifically in the LPL have incredible moments. In fact, that's what won him Game 5 of his World Championship. Now he's looking for a huge moment here. He uses the Moonlight Vigil, but he's going to get caught out and taken down in a 1v3. Jiejie gets a big shutdown, and Waybo are back in business, baby, as Xiaohu goes forward and gets his Mundo a double kill.
Yeah, Xiaohu completely carried that fight. That Between Worlds ult was just so effective. This slow that it's putting onto all of those BLG members, that just completely swung the entire game back in Waybo's favor.
Knight looking for an assassination onto Erha, not going to be able to get it though, as Jiejie able to make his way over to this Rift Herald, should be able to take that one down, get another neutral objective into the hands of Weibo Gaming, and they're suddenly right back into this game, Fulls.
Yeah, I think On just stepping up much too far to place this control ward here. You realize that, he's just getting slowed and beaten down here by this Mundo, by this Blitzcrank, even the Quirky gatling him in the back. But look at this Aurora ult. It's just so effective. Not only the damage, but also the slow. As Viper, you can't build enough space to survive anymore. You're just forced to die here because this Aurora ult hits you. A level 11 Aurora even, so it's just even that much more powerful. You have Barrier, but it's just not even close to enough. And I think that was On just positioning a bit too far forward, and Xiaohu being ready to capitalize on BLG's members overextending.
So 700 gold lead now in favor of Waybo. They're still awaiting, actually, funnily enough, for Elk and for Zika to get their quest completed. That's the two champions that ended up swapping those lanes.
Well.
We'll see if it has any impact on this potential fight around the dragon. It would be sole point for BLG if they can get this Cloud Drake in about 30 seconds time.
That is amazing.
It's funny how this works out, isn't it?
Yeah, well, supposedly they just had a really advantageous play, so they're probably chilling, but you can only wonder how much value they're leaving on the table here by going for this line of play. This Corki just has so much less gold, and this Renekton just has so much less XP. So, hey, they are technically in the lead. But, again, there are some doubts to be had here for sure. A lot of on-the-way pings here for this Rift Herald, it looks like. They're spotting this up right at the awakening, if you will, of the dragon here. And we'll see if BLG even wants to contest this whatsoever. There's just no way. So you definitely go for as much gold as you possibly can. Perhaps have some kind of a look here in the top side. You can perhaps get some of these plates off of this top tower. But other than that, you just kind of lose the objective with no recourse.
Yeah. BLG, they are able to afford giving up one of those dragons. Maybe they want to wait a little bit more, maybe look for a play instead.
Wow.
As Elk gets knocked up alongside Erha with the unstoppable force of Shun, and Viper gets right back onto the board. The Calibrum from downtown secures the double, and BLG answer right back.
Yeah, and BLG, we are so back out of nowhere. That's such a crazy play. I'm pretty sure he flash lanterned in the Malphite. And as Elk there, of course you're feeling paranoid, wanting to flash, but that's the last thing you want to do. As soon as you flash, the Malphite ult comes in. Boom, guess what? You're one tapped. Guess what? That's a double kill for Viper. He's going to have over a 2,000 gold lead now. He still has his sums, and Corki has no flash. This 80 carry difference is going to be huge.
BLG have 6 kills, and they have all gone to that man on the Aphelios in Viper. First game back in the LPL since 2022, but it's with the help of his teammates that plays like this are able to be made.
Mentioned getting all the kills they can onto this Viper fella. He's quite the good 80 carry, you know, so I would not fault this strategy one bit. We're going to have to see if putting all of your eggs in the Viper basket is going to pay off. I would imagine it will, but we have a lot of League of Legends to be played here.
Only thing is that Knight not able to get any of these. He's still at 0-0 and 0. However, in an even game state as to Xiaohu at this point in time. See if those one-shots will still be able to play if Knight has not snowballed as much as maybe he would have liked to in a typical situation. That's one of the big things that BLG are going to have to figure out. I feel like, you know, Elk certainly is a player that can carry games on his own. But when you bring in somebody like Viper, who is regarded by many to be literally the best AD carry in the world, if you're somebody like Knight coming into this position, coming into this situation, you might have to have some games where you're more on the defensive side, more on the secondary supportive side of things.
Yeah, I mean, as Knight, you're doing pretty much exactly what's needed from you this game. They might have a look on bin here, probably not. But yeah, you just want to stay alive, get your gold, get your XP, play your game. I mean, Aphelios champ, there's a reason they pick him. This whole Baron Nashor thing isn't as much of a threat to him as most champs.
Oh my gosh. It is getting deleted right now. 7,000 HP, however, Waybo do know that this is happening.
It's gone.
Will allow for this Mundo to get close, but it is still secured by the hands of Bilibili Gaming. Students able to use the flash to get away, but Waybo still want the smoke. They're still looking for the fight, and they will be able to take the Malphite down. Zika, the one to land the final blow, but the rest of BLG will be able to escape. They get the Baron, and it only comes at the cost of one of their players, maybe a second though, as On has suddenly been caught out as well. A teleport his ear for Knight, but he will not be able to save, I should say, his support. Scatter the Weak comes out. It stuns up Zika, and Waybo should be able to escape with their lives. Viper now suddenly taken very low, and Waybo can still look to be aggressive now in a 3v5. They force Knight and Viper back, and they will not be able to get as much with this Baron as BLG may have originally hoped.
Yeah, as ridiculous as it seems for a super even game state, -1 flash, is that that actually should have been even better for BLG. The only reason that was so ugly is Shun got Blitzcrank hooked, and that's inexcusable, man. You cannot get Blitzcrank hooked as Malphite when you have your ult up. There's no reason he should be ulting backwards, flashing over the wall, and dying when it just took one input to change the entire trajectory. All he had to do was buffer the Blitzcrank hook with his ultimate, and that play would have pretty much been game-winning. But because Waybo was able to find some sort of a counterplay due to Shun's inability to do so, and due to the fact that On got cut out at the end there as well, the play isn't nearly as good as it should be. But don't get me wrong, that is still a really good play for BLG.
Yeah, still have Baron buff for next 90 seconds, and while they are down in terms of gold right now, a lot of those objectives are going to continue to stack that cash here for BLG. They also have this Dragon back up in 30 seconds. They can use the wave power that they have with these empowered minions to get themselves good positioning for that one, which would again be that Cloud Soul point.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of looks like they're contesting. Looks like both the solo laners are recalling to try and teleport in. We see some assistance pings being issued deep into the BLG jungle. I would not be surprised if we have a pretty intense 5v5 take place here. I also would not be surprised if Waybo has the reasonability to just give this one up. It is literally a Malphite controlling this terrain right now. You're probably just going to get one tapped if you overstep, so let's see.
BLG poking, issuing little slivers of damage onto Waybo's side. Who will be the one to fully pull the trigger, though? Still waiting to see. Erha could be the difference maker with a rocket grab and a use of that patience to make sure that he does not pull the wrong player. If he gets Knight or Viper, it could be game warping, series warping here for Waybo. They're playing things very safely as the Dragon has been started up.
Yeah, I mean, at least you want to get in range for a 50-50 smite here, but they want more.
Go. Knock up already connecting onto Xiaohu. Viper in severe danger. He flashed away, but still has a lot of healing with that red gun. It's going to be Viper eventually getting taken down by the hands of Zika. But can the rest of BLG come to play without their main carry alive? They get the Renekton as it's still a 1 for 2 in favor of BLG. Elk's able to back away from that death sentence of On, but it's BLG securing the third Dragon of the game.
It looks like Knight is finally on the board here, finally participating in a kill, but I believe what happened there was actually Viper's ulti as the Severum, the healing Moonlight Vigil. I believe it was actually dodged. Maybe Xiaohu went into the Between Worlds or something. So I think Viper was supposed to heal like over 300 extra HP here, but he wasn't able to do so. Let's take another look.
I mean, that would be a big difference maker here. Yeah, the Moonlight Vigil, it went wide. You saw it hit the back end of the Dragon Pit instead of a champion.
Yeah, it looks like Xiaohu phased right through it with the Between Worlds blink. And I mean, if Viper had those extra hit points, he's got Triumph, he's got Legend Bloodline. I'm pretty sure with the Severum as well, his HP bar could have went all the way back up to full pretty much. But instead, he does get low enough to be taken up before he can drain back up. And that matters quite a bit, but however, Knight still doing his diligence, performing well enough on this Syndra. Looks like he's building into a needlessly large rod item here. Could be a Shadow Flame, could be a Zhonya's, could be a Death Cap. Honestly, wouldn't even mind a Banshees because the enemy team has a Blitzcrank, but I wouldn't be surprised for it just to be the Death Cap because he's going to have the fully online Syndra passive in one additional Splinter, so that's any second now. And his champion scales pretty well, Grapes. So just because Viper was the main character at the start doesn't mean we can't have sort of a duet here for the rest of this match. Yeah,
I mean, Knight certainly still able to provide a big chunk of damage, especially to some of these squishier targets. Made it it's still a 2-for-1 fight for BLG at the end of the day. Working towards what could be a Shadow Flame, a Death Cap, whatever it may end up being for that third item. Speaking of third items, though, Viper's already gotten his. On the other side of things, though, here, Foles, we haven't talked a lot about Jiejie since the earlier portions of this game, but he's now 3-0-6. He has 3 items himself. That Randuin's going to really stifle a lot of the damage that Viper can put out. He hasn't died yet. He might end up being pretty unkillable at this point.
Yeah, so some people might not know this about the Dr. Mundo, but it's actually pretty similar in a sense to sort of Kale or Kassadin, where level 16 is just such a huge power spike on Dr. Mundo because at rank 3, maximum dosages, increased base health, and bonus generation are increased by the amount of enemy champions nearby. So he gets a sort of additional secret passive on his ult when he hits level 16, where it's just that much more OP. So if his proximity has 5 enemy champions, the Mundo ult is just insane. I'm sure we might have seen some of those push clips before. I mean, he's got the business skin. I'm sure he knows what he's doing. But when this Mundo hits level 16 and he has a Randuin's, a fella's going to do no damage. He's going to heal so much.
There's no scatter on Knight right now, and that means Waybo want to go on the aggressive end. Shun gets hooked up, uses that unstoppable force defensively, and that's a big cooldown. No longer at BLG's disposal. Bin teleports in, has to immediately hop, skip, and jump out of the way. And Weibo Gaming in a good position now to potentially contest a Baron or just set up their lanes, set up the map for what could be a big fight around a Dragon Soul.
Yeah, I mean, you see, just because the enemy team has the Lantern, the Blitzcrank typically doesn't care. You can just hit a hook, you can pretty much just block the Lantern, and you saw Malphite was forced to ult backwards there either way. So it's just going to be really difficult to deal with this later game stages for BLG to punch through this Mundo. I mean, he's got the Spirit Resist, so his healing is going to be ridiculous. He's got the Randuin, so the Aphelios is going to do like no damage. And once he gets that level 16 extra ulti passive, he's just going to be that much more powerful. And I would be really concerned about that with this Dragon spawning and this Baron up right now. I mean, you have to get this Cloud Soul as BLG, it feels like, or else this game becomes a lot more difficult.
A very back and forth game between BLG and Waybo. Waybo could sweep BLG if they're able to finish off what could be a very decisive fight around a Cloud Soul for Bilibili. Your defending champions of the LPL from Split 3 of 2025. Here with a new addition in Viper at the AD carry position. You see the red and the blue guns once again unlock for Viper, and they find a big scatter of the week onto Jiejie to chunk him to half HP. Meanwhile, Zika was looking for a flank onto Bin, but unable to find any crucial targets, and now Bin approaching Meganar. The unstoppable force comes forward from Shun, and that's the go button for BLG. 2 members down. Xiaohu forced to jump away, but he will not be able to escape for very much longer. Flashed away from the wallop. Maximum dosage here for Jiejie will keep him alive, but BLG are still 5 strong, and they can make their way to the Dragon Soul.
Yeah, and what an effective usage of the go button. They quite literally one-shot Zika before he was even able to pop the Dominus. That's such a difference maker in this fight. The Blitzcrank and the Renekton just had no way to navigate that. Beautiful ulti. Wow, look at that damage onto Elk right there.
Almost able to one-shot Elk. Has help from On to get away from.
Take it.
Could be a little bit even more damage. On thought about it. You know he thought about going in there. But going for the safer play instead. Baron is on the table, and Zika does not respawn for another 5 seconds, and no TP on the Renekton.
Yeah, and Jiejie doesn't have the passive right now. I believe it should come up pretty soon here, but it means he can actually be crowd controlled for once. And you can just one-shot this.
Getting close to Meganar. There he is. Will he use the ultimate? Already does. Doesn't find a priority target. And it's going to be the Baron secured by Waybo. Somehow, someway, BLG have it stolen right under their noses. And now can go for the fight on the other side of things. Bin has a Sterix pop. Zika looking to dash forward. And they will take the Gnar down. Xiaohu gets the kill. And now Billy are on the run with Waybo, the ones wearing purple.
And that's the thing with the Cloud Soul. It's the highest win rate soul, but a lot of the power comes from using your ultimates. They expended all of their ultimates in the previous play, so they weren't even able to use the value of the soul all that much. Once Jiejie steals that, he's also level 16 now. He just completely takes over that fight. He just carried the whole game with just the simple press of his D key right there. So well, he pressed both of it. I guess he had to flash in first. He presses F, he presses D, and that's all he needs to do to carry this fight, carry this game.
Wow. I mean, he finds a creative angle in there. Bin misses some of that crucial crowd control, including the Gnar ultimate onto every target, including Jiejie. If he gets stunned up there, maybe that's the Baron. Who knows how this fight could have gone.
Yeah, as BLG, you don't want to be flipping that there. I can only imagine that they thought it wasn't a flip, that there was no way that Mundo would be able to reach them on time and that it wasn't feasible. But it totally was, man. He was easily able to steal that right under their nose. And I can only wonder whose game this is going to be now. Just because one team has the Cloud Soul, the other team has the Baron here. They have the gold lead. Their champions are pretty good late game. I mentioned the Mundo. We might have ourselves a game that could go all the way to the Elder Dragon just to get some hopes up.
And if you thought Mundo was hard to kill, he's got his 4th item, and that's a Protoplasm Harness. Going to be basically a second ulti if he ever gets below 30% HP. Hook lands onto On. Erha landing a nice rocket grab, and that's Elk getting the kill. 4v5 now opened up across the map as Bin teleports in to try to defend his bot lane tier 1, but that will not happen. There's still the empowered minions for the next 60 seconds, and Waybo are going to make the most of it.
Oh, this is so awkward, too, because as Viper, he's got a Lord Dominic's Regards and an Executioner's Calling. He knows he needs to cut this healing, but this Executioners can't do anything. Luckily, he gets the extra inventory slot, But yeah, this Mundo, as I kind of theorized, is just going to be such an amazing champion for Waybo.
Oh,
they ulti onto him.
They're going to have to try to just one-shot him, but he cleanses away, pops the ulti, and Jiejie will not fall! This Mundo is immortal! And Elk's going to land the kill onto Shun as well. Xiaohu on the flank. Knight and Viper are very low, and Waybo will continue their push with the Baron buff.
And guess what, Graves? He didn't even have to pop the protoplasm harness there. He didn't even reach the threshold. He would have had just that much more healing, just that much more tenacity. He's just so immortal. He's so unkillable. He's even more ahead now. 3,000 gold lead in the jungler. Malphite does low-key get outscaled. Eventually, he's just an unstoppable force bot. Well, unfortunately, some of these targets on Waybo are pretty hard to lock down. The Aurora, even the Corki have some counterplay to it. And the main target they've been one-shotting all game is this Blitzcrank. At this stage of the game, if you're ulting Blitzcrank, the fight's probably over before it starts. So this 3,000 gold lead in the jungle is huge in terms of the amount in which it matters in this game. And this Mundo champion, man, he might be exactly what Waybo needs to get them across the finish line in this series.
Malphite B1 has been a very powerful selection. I guess not B1, it was R1 in this case, but first pick, now that we're in this new first selection phase. But this Mundo pickup is starting to become a real problem in the LPL as a counter to this Malphite pick. Outscales and is able to basically out-tank anything that is thrown its way. You see BLG, even with a fully fed Viper on this Aphelios, unable to even scratch the surface of the health pool of this Dr. Mundo pick. As Jiejie and the rest of Waybo looking to pull off what many thought would be improbable. A 2-0 over BLG to open the 2026 season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this Dr. Mundo champion in Season 16, he's got the second Mundo ulti, as we highlighted, that protoplasm harness. He is so hard to kill. And you can't even really target him because of his passive. You know, he's just immune to all the crowd control. And as Viper here, you've got this extra inventory slot. You've got all the gold in the world, but there's just no item you can build to punch through this Mundo right now. Here we go.
Another hook. It lands onto Shun. He's going to have to use the lantern from On to get away. But Jiejie is still just going to walk straight into the opposition. And Xiaohu has found a massive flank, but he gets knocked up and is going to get taken down by the Unleashed Power. A massive mistake by the mid laner of Weibo Gaming could end up costing them this team fight. Here goes Bin. He's Mega Gnar, lands the wallop and gets the Gnar on to Zika. 2-0 BLG. And they're going to push down mid to look for more.
Yeah, I mean, Xiaohu was just doing too much right there. He's like, one of the only ways you can throw is by dying as one of these vulnerable champions. There was no need to go for that. He got completely punished. I'm not sure what by. I think it was actually a Scatter of the Week that might have hit him. It might have been a Malphite ult. I really would love to see that again.
I think it was a scatter,
but whatever hit Xiaohu there, he got crowd controlled. He got one shot, and that was a huge mistake. This Elder Dragon's going to go the way of BLG alongside their Cloud Soul, and what a game is to be sure. They have a huge spot to take this game 2 right now. They're going to even probably get the Baron.
Remember, guys, this is day number 2 of the LPL 2026 season. We still have so many games to go. Hopefully many more matchups between these two squads, as it has been delivering so far in this best of 3. Taking another look at this one, Xiaohu with an aggressive teleport, but gets immediately spotted out by Knight.
Oh yeah, Shun just completely has his number right there. Knight says, deleted, presses the outplay button, and the rest of this fight is just so hard to navigate. You have the most unkillable character in the game. Well, it doesn't matter if you can't die if none of your teammates can kill the opposition. So we're going to have BLG with the trifecta, Grapes. That's the Baron, that's the Elder, and that's the Dragon Soul. If you can't win a game with the trifecta, then you can't win a game at all.
We know what they haven't done. They haven't killed Jiejie yet. He's still 0 death.
True, that's true, low-key.
That's going to be the biggest challenge of them all, potentially. Maybe even more than winning the game. We see a Guardian Angel not picked up for Viper. Knight has gotten extremely fed at this point in the game as well. Sitting with that Death Cap alongside a Cosmic Drive. Going to be throwing out scatters like it's nobody's business. Teleport comes in with the spellbook of On. You have Bin currently holding things down in the bottom lane, but he has a TP to join a fight if it ends up breaking out.
Yeah, typically with the Baron, you want to play multiple lanes. The hook goes wide here. Yeah, you can't really just siege one lane. It's too easy for them to clear the wave. So that's why Bin is delivering this mid wave here. He can sync this up with this imminent top wave, and this is going to be a really hard push to answer with all these Baron buffed minions. With all the buffs that BLG is wearing right now, you can see they just have to seed these towers. They have to play at their Nexus. There's still over a minute of this Elder Dragon remaining.
Hope for Waybo, you can wait one more wave, hold it a little bit longer, and maybe that Elder Dragon buff will have expired by then. But it's going to be a tough task as there are still minions marching into the Nexus turrets now. 2 inhibitors already taken down. Waybo looking to avoid a game number 3, and BLG trying to force that decider. The first Nexus tower in severe danger and now taken down. Death sentence lands onto Jiejie, and Bin is approaching Mega Gnar at level 19, looking to pull the trigger, and he will dash forward and land a 2-man Gnar. But on the back end of things, Zika is still forcing away, and Jiejie is healing up a storm. The Nexus becomes the target, and that will be BLG, sending us to game 3.
Yeah, BLG looked like they might have had a way to lose this series 2-0, but they said, no, sir, not today. They found a way to even out this series, and they're taking us to that beloved game 3. We would love to see that with these two teams right here. This is just such a banger series. I'm pretty sure Jiejie didn't even die at the end there.
No, he was like,
it was like just
70%
a matter of
HP when the game ended.
Hit the Nexus, man. If you can't kill the Mundo, kill the Nexus. And that was their only way out. They found it. They made it happen off the back of some crazy clutch plays from, honestly, MVP Viper. But the rest of the squad was performing. I know Shun was down 3k gold, but he was hitting some pretty big Malphite ults all game, especially having Erha's number, picking them off, spoon-feeding Viper, and it was super back and forth. Waybo looked like they had their footing there somewhere in the middle of that game, but I can't even remember where, but Bilibili found their footing once more, and once they had it, it was over.
I remember where Fools. It was Xiaohu getting caught out there, getting Malphite ulted straight in the face, going for way too aggressive of a flank. Felt like Waybo had all the pieces to pull off that win. You know, you have Elk starting to really scale on that Corki as well. You know, we're going to check the damage numbers and things like that, but Jiejie was nearly unkillable in that game. He actually was unkillable. He never died in that matchup. But BLG find a crucial pick that results in them taking the Baron, the Elder, and then the game. What a way to close out the day. This triple header is going to be headed towards a thrilling conclusion with a game 3 between two teams that, again, we mentioned it, could be favorites here in the LPL as we go throughout the year.
Yeah, a perfect way to end off the night. We probably have the best series on the menu going to the 3 games. This is going to be exactly what we want to see. The 3rd game of the Fearless, it's going to be so interesting to see how things go with the side select, with the pick order select, how everybody wants to have this draft unfold, you know, with all these champions out now as well. And, you know, what we said after seeing game 1 was we want to see Viper on a more characteristic champ. We want to see Knight on a more characteristic champ. We got what we wanted. We need to see that again if Bilibili's going to take this one home. As Waybo, I feel like Elk kind of wasn't able to have the game he wanted to last game. You know, just playing the Corki, you're more of a passive, kind of sit back and shoot rocket kind of champion, similar to the Varus in a way, where you're not really having all the power in the world. And that's why in this final game of the series, I really want to see, we've been highlighting this bot lane matchup. Can Elk versus Viper get any more cinematic than this? I sure hope we get something good in this next draft.
I know we're not at blind pick anymore because we're not in the Demacia Cup for these decisive game 3s, but just give me like Kai'Sa versus Jinx or something. Just have these 80 carries go at it. I don't want any passive stuff like we saw earlier on in the series. It's been such a thrilling chess match between these two bot laners, Elk against his former team, and Viper back in the LPL. And they have certainly delivered us a show throughout these first 2 games of the series, and hopefully able to bring us that in the 3rd. As we take a look at some of our post-game graphics, got to give some credit to Knight as well. Really delivering in the back half of that game specifically here, Foles.
Oh yeah, actually Knight doing a lot more damage than we might have realized. I think he eventually came online. You know, he was sitting at that solid goose egg scoreline for the whole game, it felt like. But then he just didn't die all game. He was just doing his thing, accumulating gold and resources, waiting for his time, biding his moment for his time to strike. And when he did, he struck true through the hearts of Xiaohu and everybody else. He did really well. This was on one of his better champions. You know, he's going to have an even higher win rate on that now. And let's just see how the rest of the series goes with some of these picks. But yeah, Viper and Knight doing over 40,000 damage apiece. This is exactly what, kind of like a Shaq and Kobe kind of thing, like a Dwayne Wade and LeBron kind of thing. I mean, we got these two side by side. This is going to be such a good year of LPL, getting to watch these two. What a privilege. And yeah, that was a great game to sort of see what they're capable of.
I mean, you think about just duos that exist in the League of Legends ecosystem right now that have that same level of like carryability. I guess like you have Canyon, Canyon and Chovy. That certainly could be up there. Is that but other than that, I'm struggling to think of a different pairing that has as much firepower as Knight and Viper have on BLG. These guys certainly delivering. The rest of the pieces also having good moments. I want to shout out Bin, who had a tough early game here on the Gnar, but some really critical ultimates here later on in the game ended up helping BLG get over that eventual hump. And overall, still a lot more to be desired in general from some of these players, but they each had their own moments that really shined in allowing them to get this win.
Yeah, and I actually want to give some unsung praise to Bin this game because, as I was mentioning, just because he was 0-3-0, I feel like he actually didn't do anything wrong. I feel like he was literally just given the short end of the stick. That's just how it is in some of these League of Legends games as a top laner. I was auto-filled top lane in real life, so I would know. And sometimes you are just forced to die because you're the weak side. It is what it is. Your team is getting more than you're losing. So Bin having to tank some of that rage bait, just dying for the cause. And he did his job. He eventually scaled on up. He delivered. And I guess we might have had a bit of an answer as to whether that lane swap was worth it after all, because you saw just how long it took them to complete those quests. I mean, so far that's a 0% win rate on the lane swaps. And so it might be some biased statistics right there, but it was really interesting to see that, and we'll see if that's going to be something to watch out for in this game 3, how they navigate those positions, those strong sides, those weak sides, and the draft.
I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't be surprised if they give the MVP to Jiejie. No, okay, give it to the Viper. Makes sense. 10-2-3 as he gets his first MVP back in the LPL since 2022. Congratulations to him there. But again, still more work to be done in what has been a absolutely thrilling battle between two juggernauts in the LPL 2026 season. Will BLG be able to close things out in reverse sweep fashion, or will Waybo move up to 2-0 so far to open their 2026 campaign? We'll find out in just a few short minutes. The final game of our triple header here on LPL English is coming up right after this.